In just a moment from now, we will try and connect our colleague Aanchal Vohra from Erbil in Iraq with the family members of those who are missing. They're in Hoshiarpur waiting anxiously for every word coming out of Iraq. But before that, let me get you details about this agenda-setting world exclusive. And on a map, let me show you the journey Aanchal took before you take a look at this story. From Erbil, we traveled to Mosul and then westwards towards Badush village. Badush village is significant because this is the area where the Indian government believed these 39 Indians were being kept hostage in a prison. India Today traveled to that prison to find that that prison itself doesn't exist any longer. It was razed by the ISIS when Baghdadi's men were in retreat. This is an agenda-setting India Today world exclusive.
3-1 7-3-4
Plumes of smoke, thuds of explosion. This is what became of Mosul after ISIS overran it in June 2014. 3 years later, this July, Iraqi forces recaptured the ancient city. Hopes flickered more than 3,000 kilometers in the east, across India. Hope that 39 Indians missing from Mosul since 2014 could still be alive.
जब बदूश की लड़ाई समाप्त
For families waiting for their loved ones, nothing could have been more reassuring. And that's when India Today sets out in search of our missing immigrants in Mosul. A journey through some of the world's most dangerous zones. The first by any Indian TV crew after Mosul's liberation from the deadly ISIS. Located in northern Iraq, this city has been no stranger to the rise and fall of civilizations. It's reduced to ruins once again. This is where ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi declared a global caliphate in 2014.
That's the Al-Nuri mosque from where Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi announced his caliphate. There is no clarity whether he's been killed or is still alive. West Mosul, though, lies in ruins. There's nothing left here. The moment you get here, the smell of rotting bodies catches up. There's only destruction as far as your eye can see. There are no human beings.
An estimated 40,000 people have been killed in Mosul. Many more are still unaccounted for. Our heart sinks to think of the fate of 39 Indians abducted by the ISIS in mid-2014. In Erbil, near Mosul, we meet members of the tiny Indian community. Tirupati belongs to Hyderabad and works at a popular restaurant here. He is worried about the fellow Indians gone missing.
It's very sad to they're stuck there. I don't know about them, where they are. Very, very sad, very, very sad. So we want to know where they are safe or they are in any trouble or like that.
Around 6,000 Indians live in Erbil. At the beginning of the conflict, 22,000 lived in Iraq. Most came here for work. Where did 39 of them disappear? We probe different agencies.
This is the office of the Red Crescent in Erbil, and we're about to go inside to find out if they have any information about the 39 Indians who were abducted in 2014. Remember, India's External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj continues to give hope to the families of these abducted Indians, and the Ministry of External Affairs did say that it was originally Red Crescent that gave them the information that the Indians are alive. So what's the status? Do they know anything? Have they been talking to the Indian government? Let's find out. Indian government said that Red Crescent has told them.
Havre Ehsan Sadiq has been the manager of Red Crescent's Erbil branch since September 2014. If there is any information that needs to be shared about civilians, it would go through him.
You're in charge of Red Crescent in Mosul, right?
Yeah.
If there is any information that any of your volunteers or workers find or in Mosul about Indians, will that come to you?
But 3 years, ISIS to control in the Mosul, and I didn't any information with the any people inside Mosul.
Erbil's main humanitarian agency is clueless, but our search continues. We now head to the heart of the conflict, in West Mosul. The entire area looks like a war zone. We move through endless lines of destroyed, deserted homes. That's the final mile. We are nervous yet hopeful. Soon, we are joined by a local team. They led us to a path laden with mines. We walk, watching our steps carefully. What we discover is stunning. There's no sign of any prison anymore, let alone any person. We look at the rubble, shattered.
This is Badush Prison. This is where, according to the intelligence India's External Affairs Minister has received, the 39 abducted Indians could possibly be. But that information is clearly absolutely incorrect, because this building, we're being told, was destroyed by ISIS itself years ago, and this area was liberated a few months ago, in fact, by the counter-terrorism unit of Iraq. What's left are just remnants of what was once a prison where ISIS had come to get some of their Islamist brothers released from. And it is at that time that they also ended up occupying the city of Mosul. The question hence continues to be, where are the 39 Indians? It is important to have hope, but looking at this, I have to say, this is not what I expected to find. We faced many problems while coming here, and one was hoping that perhaps there'd be some good news that one could return home with. In Badush, on the outskirts of Mosul, in Iraq, Aanchal Vohra.
Let's now go across live to Erbil. Joining us from there is Aanchal Vohra. She spent the day today in various camps across Erbil near Mosul. What did you see? You're tracking the follow-up to this story. What are you picking up from war zone Iraq?
Well, you know, I met a lot of people, a lot of Iraqis who've been troubled by the ISIS all the time that they've been living under ISIS. I met these two sisters, and we'll be playing that story tomorrow. And both of their husbands were picked up by ISIS. One because he was smoking at a police officer, the other because he was a police officer. And they told me about what their life was really like under ISIS. They couldn't go out of the house. They had to constantly keep their, not just the bodies, but the entire face covered. They couldn't smoke. They couldn't talk to anyone. And they said that initially when ISIS came in, they seemed nice. They seemed like they were talking about religion and they were talking about God. But then it became a bit too restrictive, and they picked their husbands. So two sisters, both of their husbands have been abducted by ISIS. One 6 months before, she is still holding on to hope and says that one day her husband will come back. She told me that her husband was taken into a basement somewhere, because ISIS also made a lot of tunnels in Mosul, and she hopes that he's still there. But I said this area is now under the control of the army, so does she think he's still there, or is he going to come back? And she said, I don't know where he is, and she of course didn't want to sort of elaborate on that. Her husband was abducted 3 years ago, and she says, I have no hope left. So one is holding on to hope, the other is opting for closure, and the camps are full of these stories. Of course, for us, the 39 Indians are very important, but that's not a story unique to India. I mean, ISIS, of course, has been a brutal group and has done this to many, many people, many of their own countrymen as well.
Stay with me, Anchal. Let's see if we can try and get you to speak to some of the family members of those whose kin are missing. They're in Hoshiarpur. Satinder Chauhan, Chandigarh Bureau Chief, is in Hoshiarpur at this time. Satinder, we have Anchal live from Irbil. We were seeing during our last live broadcast with you that the family members had lots of questions to people on the ground. So let's see if we can get them to ask Anchal some questions. Satinder, take it away.
Exactly, Rahul. Here you can see many people are here and they are really want to know many questions from Anchal. Anchal, हमारी correspondent इराक में है. आप उनसे कुछ पूछना चाहेंगी?
अंचल जी, आप इराक में गए हैं तो आप बताइए कि जहाँ के हालात के हो जाए हैं तो सानू के सारा स्पष्ट कीजिए कि इधर क्या हो रहा है या क्या नहीं, तो जो हमारे बच्चे हैं उसका कुछ पता लगा है जाके नहीं। ਅਸੀਂ आपसे बार-बार पूछ रहे हैं ਤੇ और ਅਸੀਂ सुषमा स्वराज जी से कह रहे हैं कि उम्मीद लाई बैठे हैं कि साडे बच्चे जहां भी है सेव हैं ਜਾਂ किस तरह भी हैं, सानू सुषमा जी भरोसा दे रही है। तो आप बताइए आंचल जी कि क्या बात है, इधरली क्या स्थिति है?
देखिए अभी तो
they want to know the real situation.
The question, Satinder, just a moment, let Anchal reply.
तो अभी यहाँ पे सिचुएशन मेरे हिसाब से पहले से ठीक है, क्योंकि आईसिस को यहाँ से भगाने की कोशिश काफी ज्यादा की गई है। काफी इलाकों से आईसिस को भगा दिया गया है। तो आईसिस एक मजबूत ग्रुप के रूप में अब इराक में मौजूद नहीं है। सिर्फ 3 जगह पे है, हवीजा, तलफार, आई थिंक सिर्फ हवीजा और तलफार में है। ये आखिरी ऑपरेशन यहाँ की फोर्सेस का होगा, वो ये ऑपरेशन प्लान कर रहे हैं। तो 2-3 महीने में एक ग्रुप की तरह जो आईसिस की स्ट्रेंथ है वो नहीं होगी। इसका मतलब आईसिस अभी भी काफी कमजोर है। उनका एक ही गढ़ है अभी, वो तलफार में है, और एक छोटा गढ़ है उनका जो हवीजा में है। बदूश जो जेल मंत्रियों ने हमारे कहा था, वहां पे उनका गढ़ अब नहीं है। मोजुल में उनका गढ़ अब नहीं है, लेकिन वो स्लीपर सेल्स की फॉर्म में, स्लीपर सेल होता है जिसमें ये लोग ग्रुप में नहीं होते, लेकिन 1-2 लोग बन के आ जाते हैं और छतों पे चढ़ के गोलियां मारते हैं और छुप के बैठ जाते हैं कि जब हम मजबूत होंगे तो हम फिर से लड़ाई शुरू करेंगे। तो ये वहां पे जो यहाँ की फौज है इराक की, उन्होंने सब खाली कर दिया है। नीचे टनल्स जरूर है, लेकिन हमें ये कोई खबर नहीं मिली कि टनल्स में लोग हैं। कुछ आईसिस के लोग हैं, खतरा अभी बना हुआ है, लेकिन उस तरीके का खतरा नहीं है कि आईसिस ने कंट्रोल कर रखा हो। मैं खुद ही बदूश गई हूँ, वहां मुझे बताया गया कि गोलीबारी हो सकती है, लैंडमाइंस हैं, तो खतरा है, पर ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं जाऊंगी और आईसिस खड़ा होगा और मुझे वहां पे जो है वो कर लिया जाएगा।
You can take some more questions. Satinder?
आप क्या पूछना चाहेंगे आंचल से? आंचल अभी मौसूल में है, मौजूद है इराक में।
आंचल जी, आप कैसे हैं?
मैं ठीक हूँ, आप कैसे हैं?
जो हमारे तालिब आती है उसके बारे में क्या बताएंगे? ठीक है,
सवाल एक बार रिपीट करिए, आप क्या कहना चाह रही हैं?
इस पे ही कहने उसका पता लगा कर जल्दी जल्दी से बता दो, ठीक ठाक है।
आंचल ये चाहते हैं कि इनके परिवार वालों का आप जल्द से जल्द पता लगाकर इनको कुछ खुशखबरी जल्दी दें।
देखिए, मैं यही कोशिश से यहाँ आई थी कि शायद यहाँ कुछ हमें सबूत मिल पाए कि हम उन लोगों को ढूंढ पाए, और इसीलिए मैंने यहाँ से शुरुआत अपनी ये ओल्ड जो मॉस्क है जहाँ से अबू बकर अल बगदादी ने अपनी कैलिफेट का अनाउंसमेंट किया था, वहीं से हमने शुरू की। हम रेड क्रेसेंट भी गए, जो मंत्री जी ने बोला था कि वहाँ पे सूचना कुछ मिलेगी, वहाँ से हमें सूचना नहीं मिली। हमने काफ़ी जो बड़े बड़े लोग हैं जो फौजी लड़ाई कर रहे हैं ऑन द ग्राउंड मोसुल में, उनसे भी बात की, वहाँ भी नहीं मिली। उसके बाद हम बदूश भी गए, वहाँ भी नहीं मिली। तो मैं तो ये आपको ज़रूर कहूँगी कि मतलब मुझे काफ़ी इसका डिसअपॉइंटमेंट है, मैं इस चीज़ से काफ़ी उदास हूँ। लेकिन मैं इसके आगे कुछ कह नहीं सकती हूँ, आप समझिए, क्योंकि मुझे अभी तक कुछ ऐसी सूचना सैडली मिली नहीं है।
Satinder?
Yeah, Rahul.
Any more questions there? Because I think the key thing, Anchal, really, for anybody watching this broadcast is, you know, that one faint glimmer of hope that still exists. You know, and I want to put this in context, because what happened is, as Mosul and Badush got taken over by the Iraqi army, and as the ISIS was in retreat and they kept destroying different parts as they were moving away, and it's possible that that prison could have been destroyed at that time, they may have taken these 39 Indians with them. That possibility exists. It's very remote, but Anchal, What's your sense on the ground? How strong or faint is that possibility that these Indians could still possibly be with the ISIS, wherever they are in Syria, in the ground, that they still have with them?
Well, I think the best would be to say 50-50, and that is my hopeful, that's a hopeful me saying it, because I would like to imagine they've, all the other people that they've had, Rahul, and these are just facts, and I know it's a very hard episode that you're doing, because we have the families of those who've been abducted as well listening into this, because other minorities have been killed. In the past, they did keep hostages, but could they have kept Indian as hostages? Is there the possibility? Yes, there is. Could they have taken them to Tel Afar? Yes. Could they have taken them to Raqqa? Yes. But why would they take them? Do they have that capacity? Did they want to use them as leverage? Would they not have used them as leverage already? Did they want money? Would they not have asked for money already? Indian government did offer them medicine. They accepted it. They could have sort of asked for more. I mean, what do they really want from the Indians? You know, I mean, that's the whole point here. Are they really taking along wherever ISIS men are going 39 Indians in trucks? I mean, is it possible? Yes, it is possible. I haven't met anybody who says they know anything about the Indians, in short.
Okay, stay with me. I want to give our viewers a sense of what's happening on the ground in Mosul, in Badush at this time. Remember, first, the ISIS had come to dominate all of Mosul, what used to be one of Iraq's liveliest and richest cities. However, recently the Iraqi army has been able to make inroads. The ISIS is now in retreat. They're holding on, but Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi's grasp over the area which he called the Caliphate is fast slipping.
Standing on its pulpit, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi declared a caliphate 3 years ago. Before withdrawing from Mosul, his jihadist guerrillas destroyed the same Al-Nuri mosque. Symbolism can't be overlooked. Iraqi forces have recaptured Mosul from ISIS. But before its fall, the terror group shredded the city's ancient heritage to ruins. Passing through Hamidiyya, once inhabited by Christians, but nothing here is left intact now. Every house destroyed, not a single civilian on the streets. ISIS has left behind its hallmarks of brutality on Mosul's minorities. In charge of this vast deserted tract now is Brigadier Abdul Amin al-Khazraji of the Golden Division, Iraq's elite forces. ISIS is driven out of Mosul, but it isn't too far from it. When probed about the 39 missing Indians, this top military officer acknowledged the terror regime remains firmly entrenched on the outskirts at Tel Afar, 63 kilometers west of Mosul.
آخر ما عملوه الدواعش بالقديمة أنه أكو عوائل استخدموهم كدروع بشرية، واللي سمعته أنه تم إعدامهم من قبلهم. العديد من العوائل، نعم، أشخاص تم إعدامهم من قبل.
Mosul's more than 25 lakh civilians came under ISIS control when it captured the city in 2014. Many were beheaded, many thrown down from the top of the buildings for their sexual orientation, many more jailed for their religious beliefs. A battle might be over, but momentous challenges lie ahead. The Iraqi state needs to address issues that gave ISIS a fertile ground in Mosul. The key lies in reaching out to marginalized groups for a lasting peace. Aanchal Vora for India Today in Mosul.
The ISIS is in retreat, but mystery surrounds whether ISIS chief Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is alive or not. What are you picking up from the ground? What does the Iraqi army believe just today, Anchal? American intelligence again indicating that Washington believes that Baghdadi is alive. This after just last week, Russia very firmly declared that Baghdadi was dead. This man, whether he's alive or dead, he seems to have more lives than any cat.
Well, that's a million-dollar question. To be honest, nobody really knows whether he's dead or alive, and I certainly cannot answer that question. On the ground, also nobody knows whether he's dead or alive. So that is something that there is really no information on. We've all read the reports that he's been killed, but there's nothing that's been certain. I guess we'll have to wait for that one. But on the ground, there certainly is a feeling that brand ISIS is going to lose its value, is going to lose its attraction value rather. We saw how boys from different parts of the world were getting attracted to it, because this is the one time where a jihadi Islamist ideology group had essentially formed, had taken control of a territory. I mean, if you look at Muslim Brotherhood, if you look at Al-Qaeda, their ideologies were the same, but their ways were different. For Al-Qaeda, it was about the far enemy. It was America that was the enemy. For Muslim Brotherhood, again, it is a more domestic thing, and they would opt for political ways, political means, elections, in order to come to power. But what Islamic State had done was they used terrorism, and they
So what's the sense you picked up from the Iraqi army? How strong do they believe is the hold of the ISIS on the patch that they still control? When does the Iraqi army think they'll be able to end what's come to be known as the caliphate?
I think it's going to be insurgency from now on. So but control of cities has been taken over. And the most shocking thing was that ISIS had actually taken control of cities in Iraq. And that's what had shocked the entire world. So now that is getting sorted out. That is one victory at a time. Tel Afar is left. And then, of course, in Syria, Raqqa. But then insurgency will continue. There'll be ISIS, there'll be other groups as they continue to be. There will be, in Syria, of course, it's a bigger problem because there are different kinds of groups. There is Al-Qaeda, there is Nusra, which is Al-Qaeda, there is also Muslim Brotherhood, there is also Ahrar al-Sham, then there is also ISIS. Here, ISIS is going to go here. Earlier, it actually was Al-Qaeda. So, there will be the groups, terrorism will stay, and people will stay, but we don't know whether there'll be a big ISIS group or a big AQ group in the future.
Okay, stay with me. We'll slip into a break. When we come back, we'll bring you all the political reactions to this India Today World Exclusive, from BJP President Amit Shah to former External Affairs Minister Salman Khurshid, from Kapil Sibal to the Janata Dal United. Various political parties have jumped in, the opposition attacking the Modi government holding firm, saying we cannot be accused of misleading the nation. We're doing our best in what is a sensitive situation. We'll get you all those political reactions and more. The greatest pain, the greatest anxiety after this India Today ground report from Badush in Iraq is in the various villages of Punjab, where family members of these 39 Indians are waiting anxiously for any word about how their kin are doing. India Today's Anand Patel travelled from village to village in Punjab, speaking to the family members of those who've been waiting for their near and dear ones for more than 3 years now.
I announce from here to the whole world the end and the failure and collapse of the terrorist state of falsehood and terrorism which the terrorist Daesh announced from Mosul 3 years ago.
Barely 10 days ago, Mosul was declared free from the clutches of the world's most dreaded terror organization. The war-torn territory witnessed joyous scenes after 3 years of bloodbath. These pictures of celebrations in the streets of Mosul have kindled fresh hope thousands of miles away in Punjab. India Today set out to meet Harjit, the only Indian to escape. He has been claiming that ISIS terrorists abducted the group of 40 Indians on 11th June 2014 and executed them near Badush deserts on 15th. Harjit Masih is living a tough life after his return in Kala Afghana village of Gurdaspur. From Mosul, he managed to reach Erbil border, where he was picked by Indian consulate.
हमें तो अलग ले गए गाड़ी में बंद करके उनको तो वैसे सर मैं जब वहाँ पहुँचा तो वहाँ थे वो सब वैसे झूठ झूठ बोला कि हाँ वैसा हूँ पता ही है आपको सब कैसे कैसे बोला है मैंने वो लोग तो अपने उधर के लोग ही मारे जा रहे हैं तो इंडिया वाले को कहाँ छोड़ेंगे वो लोग उन लोगों ने अपने भी उधर बहुत लोग मारे लोकल लोगों को मार दिया उधर लोगों ने तो इसलिए सर चलो मैं कहना नहीं चाहता सर तो फिर भी सर मैं कह रहा हूँ कि उन लोगों को मेरे सामने मारा है.
Our next stop was Bhoiwal village near Amritsar. Here, the family members of some of the 39 missing Indians often get together and discuss developments. They have been waiting for their prayers to be answered for 3 long years.
Reports from Iraq suggest that the Badush jail, where the 39 Indians were held captive, has been completely destroyed during fierce fighting between ISIS fighters and Iraqi forces. But here in Bhoiwal, the family members are hopeful and praying at the local Gurudwara for the safe return of their children.
MOS External Affairs V.K. Singh was rushed to Iraq to look for the missing Indians, but there has been little breakthrough.
जब तक इलाका पूरी तरह से कंट्रोल में नहीं आ जाता तब तक ये कहना मुश्किल है. जेल में है नहीं है, जेल से और कहीं भेज दिया गया है, ये भी क्वेश्चन मार्क है.
25-year-old Manjinder Singh's mother, a cancer survivor, is rebuilding her house. She is trying to fulfill the dream of her only son, who went to Iraq to earn money and build a grand house. 12th June 2014 was the last time Manjinder called home. He sounded desperate. ISIS fighters had taken them hostage. All that the helpless family members could do was call the Indian embassy at Baghdad, but no help reached. She breaks down while narrating Manjinder's ordeal.
ਉਹਦੀ ਉਮੀਦ ਨਾਲ ਡਿਆ ਵੀ ਆਊਗਾ ਤੇ ਘਰ-ਬਾਰ ਬਣਿਆ ਹੋਊਗਾ ਚਲੋ ਵਿਆਹਾਂਗੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਘਰ-ਬਾਰ ਬਣੂਗਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਉਮੀਦਾਂ ਤੇ ਜੀਣ ਡਿਆ ਤੁਰੇ ਫਿਰਦੇ 4 ਸਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਆਸਰੇ ਵੀ ਚੱਲ ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਆ ਜਾਣਗੇ ਕੱਲ ਵੀ ਆ ਜਾਣਗੇ ਬੜੀ ਆਸ ਨਾਲ ਜੀਣ ਡਿਆ.
Our next destination was Dasuya in Hoshiarpur, where Manjinder's sister Gurpinder has been crusading for the safe return of her brother and other men. Over the past 3 years, she has written to almost every influential person she could reach to, from Foreign Secretary to the Prime Minister himself.
I think government is not doing enough because we are a power. India is a big power. If Indian government want, then they can bring back 39 Indians immediately.
Family of another missing Indian. Gurcharan claims on 17th June 2014 he called his brother in Bahrain.
ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਲਈਦੀ ਆ ਫੋਨ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਲਈਦੀ ਆ ਉਤਰਾ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਲਈਦੀ ਆ ਮਿਲ ਜੁਲ ਕੇ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਦਾ.
ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣਾ ਇਹ ਮਤਲਬ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਭ ਦਾ ਦਰਦ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਭੈਣ ਭਰਾਵਾਂ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਵੀ ਵੱਧ ਚੰਗੇ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਆ. ਸਾਡੀ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਵੀ ਆ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਵੀ ਆ ਚਲੋ ਹੋ ਪਿਆ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਕਰੂਗਾ ਕਿਰਪਾ.
The Iraqi foreign minister is arriving on Monday. The government has been assuring that he will bring fresh update about the missing Indians.
It's been a long and agonizing wait for these family members, waiting for some news of their dear ones from a war-ravaged country. The only hope they are clinging on to is the fact that no ransom call was ever made, no video has surfaced, and no mass grave of Indians has been found so far in Mosul. With camera person Premchand Mishra, this is Anand Patel in Amritsar for India Today.
You know, we've been getting a huge slew of reactions ever since India Today put out this world-exclusive mission in Iraq. From the BJP President Amit Shah to former External Affairs Minister Salman Khurshid, they've all been looking at this story about the 39 Indians missing. The opposition says the government is misleading the nation. Amit Shah and the BJP believe they're doing what they can. Our political bureau with all the political reactions.
We set out on mission Iraq, traveling deep into the minefield of Badush in search for 39 missing Indians. Only to find wreckage for a prison, where External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj said they were lodged. This India Today ground report sent ripples across the political spectrum. BJP chief Amit Shah attempted to minimize damage by swiftly coming to Sushma Swaraj's defense.
क्लैरिटी है, उनको ढूंढने का प्रयास चल रहा है, अभी कोई फाइनल स्थिति किसी के सामने नहीं आई.
But opposition tore into the BJP government at the centre, claiming that Sushma is spreading white lies.
The information given by the External Affairs Minister in Parliament perhaps was misleading. I believe one of our colleagues has moved a privilege motion or is intending to move it.
This has come as a shock because the minister's statement in the House was pretty assertive, and she had confidently said on more than one occasion, and as recent as last week, or this week rather, that they are alive.
While Aam Aadmi Party asked the Modi government to give up its arrogance,
3 साल पहले बहुत ही सीरियसली इस केस को हमने लिया था. पार्लियामेंट में मैंने सवाल भी पूछा था, जिसके जवाब में सुषमा जी ने लोकसभा में ऑन द फ्लोर कहा था कि वो मूसल में हैं. हमारी जानकारी के मुताबिक वो मूसल में हैं और मूसल पर क्योंकि सरकार का कब्जा नहीं है, ISIS का है, इसलिए जब मूसल पर सरकार का कब्जा आएगा तब बात करेंगे.
JDU stood firm on its demand for an explanation from the government.
I don't want to say the government is fooling the people, but I think the government must come out with facts. What we need is to know the situation as it exists on the ground, because along with those who are missing are entire families and even the nation that is waiting to get realistic, truthful and honest news about their well-being.
As opposition chorus for answers grows and the hope of families awaiting their loved ones fade, is it time centre acted swiftly? Bureau Report, India Today.
Joining us now on the India Today showdown, representing the BJP, Sambit Patra squaring off against him tonight, the Congress spokesperson Pawan Khera. With us from Hoshiarpur in Punjab is Satinder Chauhan from 5 p.m. He's been joined by family members, and before I begin the political discussion, I want to get Satinder to get these family members to ask questions, because you've got the BJP government. First they were asking Aanchal questions. What is it that they'd like the government to do? What is it that they're expecting, Satinder, from the government at this time?
Exactly, Rahul. These people want to know the truth, honestly. They have lot of questions. आप ये बताइए कि सरकार से आप क्या सवाल करना चाहती हैं, क्या पूछना चाहती हैं?
मैं सरकार से अगे यही गलबात करदी हां भी जे 39 भारतीय सुरक्षित है तो उन्हां नूं छेती तो छेती लियाया जावे.
ये कह रही हैं कि जो 39 भारतीय हैं उनको जल्दी से जल्दी लाने के लिए सरकार क्या कर रही है. आप भी कोई सवाल पूछना चाहती हैं सरकार से?
हाँ जी, 39 जो भारतीय 3 साल हो गए उधर फंसे को, आज तक उसका कोई सुराग नहीं मिला. आप गए हैं, जल्दी से जल्दी सानू उनका पता,
जल्दी से जल्दी इनका सुराग लगाया जाए, पता लगाया जाए. आप क्या पूछना चाहती हैं माता जी?
ਅਸੀਂ तो ये आंचल जी से बात कर रहे हैं कि जेकर इधर बच्चे सुरक्षित है तो सानू जल्द तो जल्द इन्हां दी कोई ना कोई खुशखबरी लिया कर देन. सरकार के लोग यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं. सरकार से आप क्या पूछना चाहती हैं, क्या कहना चाहती हैं? सरकार से ਅਸੀਂ यही रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं कि जो सरकार गई है, बीके जनरल जी गए आ ਤੇ ਜੇਕਰ ਉਹ ਗਏ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਹੁਣ ਸਾਡੀ ਆਸ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਟੁੱਟਣ ਨਾ ਦੇਣ, ਆਸ ਸਾਡੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਕਰਨ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਾਰ-ਬਾਰ ਇਹ ਭਰੋਸਾ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਬੱਚੇ ਸਹੀ ਸਲਾਮਤ ਆ, ਠੀਕ ਠਾਕ ਆ. ਜੇਕਰ ਉਹ ਠੀਕ ਠਾਕ ਆ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਸਬੂਤ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਦੇਣ, ਜਲਦ ਤੋਂ ਜਲਦ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਖੁਸ਼ਖਬਰੀ ਦੇਣ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਛੋਟੇ-ਛੋਟੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ, ਤੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਰਸ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਸੁਣਨ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਤਰਸ ਰਹੇ ਆ. ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਅੱਗੇ कर रहे हैं रिक्वेस्ट पे जल्द तो जल्द, जिन्नी जल्द तो जल्द हो सकता है कि साडे बच्चों दा सानू इन्फॉर्मेशन जल्दी दी जाए.
Rahul, the main question is they want to know the truth and honestly version of government. They want a proper reply, proper answer from the government side.
Respond. These are important questions,
good or bad.
Satinder, and I think the BJP government needs to respond. You're listening, Sambit, to the heartfelt anguish and cry of the family members in Hoshiarpur on the back of this India Today ground report. What does the Modi government intend to do now, Sambit?
Rahul, I can empathize
with the family members. I can well understand the pain of the family members, pain of a mother who has not seen her son, pain of a wife who probably has not met the husband since the last 3 years. And naturally that's the reason as to why I would like to keep the doing of BJP spokesperson and a politician aside and be a human being first. Well, I can reassure, I would still like to reassure the family members that please have faith on the government. What were the two options in front of the government? When the government in fact was came with this problem on 15th of June 2014, it was only 14 or 15 days into governance. We had taken the oath on 26th of May 2014. Immediately the government was confronted with this problem. The two options in front of the government was either in the absence of any kind of evidence that our Indian brothers were dead, we should have taken for the second option, that is probably they're alive and we should have searched for them. The government is doing exactly this. The government in fact does not want to, in absence of any concrete evidence that they are not dead, because many people, in fact the opposition is saying, why are you not listening to Mr. Masih? Harjit Masih is saying that, well, in front of me many of the Indians were shot dead on 15th of June 2014, but contrary views in fact were shown by your channel also, and that's what was said by Sushma ji as well on the floor of parliament.
This is what makes things complicated.
Masih saying
Pawan
this,
Khera,
remember,
on the one side you've got the opposition attacking the government, on the other side you've got the Iraqi intelligence informing the government that they believe that these 39 Indians are still alive. They thought they were in Badush prison. That now turns out not to be true. But the government says, we're not on the ground, we're not in control of this territory. We have to go by what we're being told by the Iraqi government.
Rahul, I hope the Iraqi intelligence information turns out to be right. But my simple question is, if your journalists could make it to the Badush prison and find out that there is no such prison anymore, General VK Singh went there recently and came back and again reaffirmed that, they could be in the prison. What was he doing there? Why couldn't he, despite all the resources at the command of the government, why couldn't he reach where your journalists, taking huge risks, managed to reach there? I don't understand. These are questions that, I'm sorry, this government can neither give truth nor take truth. They are not in the business of truth at all. I don't know if you can hear me. I can't hear any sound. Can you hear me, Rahul?
Sambit Patra respond. And this is a question that will be asked not just by the Congress, but Dr. Patra, by anyone watching this broadcast. If the India Today news network can reach Badush, to that exact spot where the government thought these Indians were being kept, with the kind of muscle you have at your disposal, the men, the machines, why can't the government do this?
Rahul, there are certain issues which have to be really taken up front over here. First and foremost, I firmly believe that the kind of sentences used by my able friend from Congress saying that this government never stands for truth is uncalled for in such hour of crisis. Secondly, and extremely important to your question as to why the government could not reach where your reporter could reach. Number one, let me put the matters in perspective over here. General VK Singh, when he reached Mosul, in fact, he attended a meeting by the foreign dignitaries, the foreign ministry officials, including the NSA, the National Security Advisor of the Iraqi government. In fact, the note that Sushma ji read out, the note that VK Singh read out of probability of the Indians present in Badush was an Arabic note that was read out by the NSA himself. They said that there is no negative confirmation as of now. So naturally, when the intelligence agencies say there is no negative confirmation as of now, the government of India cannot act contrary to it. We do not believe in knee-jerk reaction.
Pawan, respond. The government has to be responsible.
On evidences.
The government has to base itself.
I'll complete this. I'll complete this, Rahul, with your due permission, as to how VK Jain could not, as to why VK Singh could not reach this spot. I think you'll be questioning me again. So let me complete this answer as well. When VK Singh ji reached there, he asked permission from the concerned authorities in Iraq to allow him to visit Badush. In fact, it was told that since Badush was almost under a fighting siege, so naturally he cannot go to Badush. Despite his insistence, all he could do was, he was accompanied by the foreign minister of Iraq, and they could go to the outskirts of Badush from where they had to return. After returning, Mr. VK Singh in fact went to the UN mission in Syria, and he wanted the UN mission to help Indian government out and to send send a delegation to Badush. The UN mission also tried, but it failed to send the delegation. Look, I congratulate your reporter for the kind of bravery she has shown. But I still maintain that being a government official, being a consul general, being an ambassador, or being a minister, it's totally different. You have to follow the rule book of the country.
You have to go by certain norms. If you're in government, journalists can take risks that
I am sorry,
the government ministers can't.
I don't agree for a minute with my friend Sambit Patra. I mean, if he can stop talking, let me finish. Let me start. I don't believe a word of what he's saying for the simple reason that every high commission, where every embassy also has our own intelligence staff. They have their ears to the ground. They have their networks. You cannot just go by what is being fed to you. The prison doesn't exist. But our ministers, our MEA does not even know the fact that the prison doesn't exist. A courageous reporter can reach there and get all the information. And our network, our infrastructure available there could not inform our MEA. There is a failure, and let's accept this. And I hope they are alive. I hope we're able to locate them. I remember 2.5 years ago when the story actually broke. The government tried its best to keep Harjeet shut. He vanished for 2 years. He was not allowed to meet journalists. I have a lot of journalist friends who tried reaching him, but he was asked to shut up.
No,
you can't cover truth. Let him say what he has to, but try and find out. You can't do this. Your foreign minister can issue passports to Lalit Modi without involving the MEA. When you want to do things, you do things. You get away with murder when you want to do it. But you can't locate these Indians. You can't find out that the prison doesn't exist anymore. No, I'm sorry. Don't. No, I will. And don't interrupt me. I didn't interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you. I want you to have a human face.
Why don't you interrupt?
What is this? You don't.
Such insensitivity, such humanity. The family members would be watching and the way you are behaving over here. So puerile behavior. Such a puerile and a boorish behavior by the Congress
doesn't know. I am articulating their angst.
The government is doing all that it can do. And here is a congressman trying to politicize the whole issue.
I'll allow you to win the debate.
Shameless Congress spokesperson. Shameless.
I'll keep quiet. You win the debate.
You are shameless, I would tell you.
Want to win the
this
debate.
Is a human issue.
Rahul, this is the problem with this party and this government. They want to win the debate.
Other spokespersons
they don't want to. They don't understand. They are losing the confidence.
You should learn from your other spokespersons, Mr.
You don't give me certificates, Sambit. We are not interested in your certificates.
You should in fact learn from your other.
Don't try and digress.
Gentlemen, I'm not going to give you
certificates. Can I just? I don't like this.
Must be watching.
We don't like this. When one second. Time out. Turn both faders down. I don't like this. Pawan Khera, I've turned your fader off, and that's because on India Today we don't encourage a cockfight. We don't like it when other channels set up these meaningless cockfights. If there's going to be a conversation, let there be some sense, let there be some light. It's not about the noise. There's a sensitive situation. We're trying to help understand what's happening on the ground, but we don't want to just let this degenerate into a tutu meme. That's not the kind of journalism India Today believes in. So let's take it one by one. And I understand what you're saying, Pawan. But if you look at the government's responses, what they're saying is that a minister, even if it's a VK Singh, he's been in the army, he's more gung-ho than others, but he can't just paradrop and land in Badush unless the government takes him there. Unless the Iraqi government feels it's safe for him to go there, he can't go there. That's the government's explanation, that an enterprising journalist can get there, but an official representative of an external government cannot. Do you accept that? One at a time, one by one, please.
No, yeah, please ensure that I'm not interrupted. I don't want to argue and win a debate here. This is not about winning or losing a debate. We are talking about a very sensitive issue, Rahul. So please ask my friend to not interrupt, please, even if I provoke him, because I have every right to question. My point here, Rahul, is we have a network of intelligence officials in every embassy and high commission and consul general. What was that network doing? Let's accept that we failed. That's something which we have to painfully accept. I mean, if a journalist could use all her resources, limited resources, and reach where she reached, why can't we get information out of Badush that the prison doesn't exist? On the floor of the house, you read out a statement, and you are now coming and telling us that no, that statement was in Arabic given to us by XYZ, and we just read it out. No, that's not what people of India want you to do. They want answers. There are families who are worried, waiting for 2.5 years, for God's sake, and you are just keen about winning a ruddy debate. I'm sorry. That's height of insensitivity.
Okay, let Sambit Patra respond. I think the sum and substance of what you're saying is that the Modi government is so used to winning the argument, so used to this general sense going out that we can't do anything wrong, that you're not willing to read the writing on the wall. Let Sambit Patra respond.
Rahul, first and foremost, what I disliked about this, I have been debating this issue with you since evening. This is the third debate. The sensibility that your channel has shown, that you had shown, and the opponents had shown was absolutely impeccable. And that's the reason as to why on such sensitive issues, I firmly believe it is not debate, it is discussion. And that's the reason as to why I thought Mr. Khera, a very seasoned politician, should not have made such comments, which are general comments on the government. See, I have maintained very firmly that the allegation made by the Congress party over here, remember they're planning to bring up a privilege motion against Sushma Swaraj ji. This is absolutely uncalled for. Is she misleading the country? No, she's not misleading the country. There were two options. Either you declare that these Indians were dead or go for the difficult task. The difficult task is to wait, to fight, and to show that, well, yes, if a single person is alive, we will keep on fighting and we'll see to it that India does whatsoever it can do for our Indian citizen in a foreign ground. And that's what India has been doing. It's not just Mosul, it's not just Iraq. Umpteen number of examples. Yemen, Libya, Nepal, name the country. And under this government, we have shown the proactive role as to how Indians' interests across borders have been respected as never before. But coming to this topic proper, let me tell you, the government, definitely, Iraq is a government, they have an NSA, we respect the NSA. You saying that our intelligence failed, absolutely not. The intelligence officers were present in that meeting. All of them came out with this statement which says that, well, Badush is under attack right now, but we firmly believe these Indians are in Badush,
so Pawan Khera wants to make one quick final intervention.
May not be in the jail also. Let Badush be cleared, and then we will come out with the sum and substance of the real statement. In fact, VK Singh's statement is on record.
Okay.
On record.
Final words, Pawan Khera, please.
Rahul, this is a typical example of a Twitter-happy government, a Twitter-happy Prime Minister, a Twitter-happy Minister. When you rescue a child from Pakistan, you make a song and dance about it. All channels are called. I mean, come on. And on something as important as this, as sensitive as this, families are waiting for information. You go and lie in the parliament on the floor of the house. At least don't lie. Just say you don't know, full stop.
Lie in the parliament again. Don't use
say
such
that
words,
they're in the prison, a prison which doesn't exist.
No one has lied on the floor of parliament. These are wrong words.
Please don't interrupt, Sambit. That's not good. Not good. We are not debating, as you rightly said. We are not arguing right now.
Gentlemen,
I don't want to interrupt.
But
please don't like the words and increase the
parliament.
No, please don't.
The country.
Please don't perturb the family.
Okay, gentlemen, I'm out of time. This story has really set the cat, as it were, amongst the political pigeons. This is an India Today expose which will be debated extensively in Parliament. We sought a response from Sushma Swaraj, India's External Affairs Minister. I was told by her office that since Parliament is in session, she will be speaking, but in Parliament a response is being prepared. The Congress has already said it intends to move a privilege motion against the External Affairs Minister. There will be political fireworks. Meanwhile, our colleague Aanchal Vora is in Iraq. She's filed fresh ground reports. That feed still being evacuated from Mosul to the India Today Mediaplex. We hope to have it ready overnight and bring it for you. This is what we believe in very firmly at the India Today group. Going out, no matter what the dangers may be, and finding the stories that matter, stories that may be disturbing, stories that may throw up facts which governments may not wish to confront or may wish to avoid at that time. Facts that may be disturbing, but facts that need to be told, because this is the channel that defines the gold standard of journalism. We're not done just yet. Today's special broadcast, and we are taking you live and exclusive to Bengaluru, where we are joined by DIG Rupa. She is the officer who took on the powers that be in Bengaluru when she put out 2 successive reports where she spoke of how Sasikala was being given VVIP treatment inside Bengaluru prison. Her seniors were upset with her. She's been shunted around, but she has the courage to speak out, and she's joining us live from Bengaluru. DIG Rupa, thank you so much for joining us. You know, you've got some who are criticizing you, you've got many who are your fans who think of you as a whistleblower. And we hope to use this opportunity to ask you all the questions that have been in the minds of those who've tracked what you've done closely this whole week. So welcome to India Today.
Thanks. Thanks.
Ma'am, I want to begin by asking you to go back to the beginning and to start describing to us what you saw around you. What specifically were your responsibilities inside that Bengaluru prison? And in the specific context of Sasikala, what did you see happen on your watch?
When I joined this post in June, specifically, to be specific, on 23rd of June, for the first week, I received a few visitors who came and briefed me on certain things going on in the prison, irregularities. And on 29th, there was an incident of attack on the chief medical officer by the convict, and in that connection, I had sought a report from the jail authorities, which was not forthcoming, and therefore I visited the jail myself on 10th, and whatever I could observe and collect evidence, I included all that and put it in writing. And after 2 days, I submitted another report, and for me, all the points included therein in the report are important. Not just one case of Shashikala or another man called Telgi, but all points are important for me as a jail administrator or as a supervisory officer.
Okay, one of the charges that you've leveled is that you believe that Sasikala paid about 2 crore rupees, or people acting on Sasikala's behest paid 2 crore rupees to bribe officials in Bengaluru prison to get special privileges. So a lot of people would wonder, what is the evidence to back that? And secondly, what kind of VVIP privileges did you see Sasikala being offered?
Okay, I'll answer your second question first. To be brief, I've told this already in the report, and it's already in the public domain. And to be brief, one is she has got 150 feet corridor to herself as private space, which has about 5 cells. So all the 5 cells are at her dispense, whereas on the other hand, there's a lot of overcrowding for the other prisoners. And she gets her food cooked in kitchen. There's a common kitchen, but she gets food cooked there, and she meets the visitors separately in a separate room, which has curtains where nobody can see inside what is going on, and it has a revolving chair and some visitors' chairs and a table, and that is definitely away from the common gallery where other prisoners meet their visitors. And this can be corroborated by the fact that in the cameras which are placed, in the CCTV cameras which are placed in the common visitor gallery, you will never find on any date the lady meeting her visitors, and that's proof enough that she is meeting them elsewhere, and it is that other room. And that apart, she wears she uses her own personal bedding, which is not allowed, and she wears her own clothing, which is again not allowed as per Karnataka prison rules. And she's not classified as class 1 or class A prisoner, and she's an ordinary prisoner. And therefore, these are the differential treatment. This is the differential treatment given to her, the special treatment. And I had put this in writing, and yes, I had put that the differential treatment is given. And secondly, I also had this inkling that in the confessional statement of Mr. Prakash given to Delhi police, this fact has come about he having some connection with the jail officials, and therefore, as I was not sure, I've also mentioned it as just a rumor that, you know, the treatment is there, that's a fact, special treatment is there, which is a fact. On the other hand, I said, this was an internal report which I gave to my boss, the DG prisons, who heads the prison department. I told him that in the report I said, I am told this is in the knowledge of your good self, and there is also a rumor attached to this that money has exchanged to the tune of 2 crores for this special treatment being given, and therefore take strictest action against the jail officials who are continuing this system. That is what I told in the report. Now, I think today there's that confession statement. I think it must be in your hand because one media person only gave it to me also. And in that, Mr. Prakash has said that in the first paragraph itself, he has said that he knows the jail officials and he arranged for a meeting of Mr. Mallikarjun with Shashikala, and that behavior shows that he has acted as an agent and that he knows the officials, he arranged the meeting, and therefore there is more to be probed into this, because this only could lead to the payment of money or the exchange of money that is allegedly
since the time
supposed to happen.
You put out your report,
takes on in this direction.
You would have seen the kind of responses coming from the administration. The superintendent spoke after you and he had a couple of points in his defense, saying that, you know, these 5 rooms that you talk about, the rooms next to where Sasikala stays, were kept vacant because of a fear that there would be a threat to Sasikala's life. They also say that the food that she is eating is cooked specially for her and not general food, because they believe that she could be poisoned.
Okay.
Do you believe there's any merit at all in the defense that's being put up by the jail administration?
Well, I don't buy this argument, because if this was so, they should have put in writing in the file, informed the court that for her security arrangements we would be reserving 5 rooms for her, 5 cells for her. Why is this not in the file? And court has not been informed, and that is one thing. And secondly, even about the food, she doesn't have any ailment as per doctor's certification. She is not right now suffering from any ailment, and therefore the giving special food to her would be special treatment which the other prisoners are denied of. And yes, if security angle was there, they must have definitely brought it to the notice, because nowhere it is mentioned that she is under threat or any such thing. And even then, in one cell itself, 24 hours guard could have been put and she could have been guarded, and whenever she meets her visitors, she could have been taken in tight security and left at the gallery where she could meet other visitors. There was no need for arrangement in a special room and no need to leave a whole corridor private space.
That's a very important point you're making, DIG Rupa, and I think that is crucial to the argument about how Sasikala is being given VVIP treatment, because DIG Rupa is telling India today that even if there is a threat to her life, there are different ways in which you don't have to give her so many VVIP privileges and yet you can achieve the same results. Many people, and you know that your story has gripped national public imagination, many people wondering what drove you when you put out your first report. You're in some senses a part of a system, a crooked system maybe, but you're a part of the system nonetheless. What drove you, ma'am, in the first instance to put out this report, which could potentially have ended up jeopardizing wherever you've reached in your career so far?
Well, these are the occupational hazards that one has to face, and I think from now on also, I do not know how my colleagues would take it, and they could always feel, you know, that there is a mole or some such thing. I mean, these are the hazards, but since I saw it, I thought I should put in writing, because if I had the powers to take action, I would have taken. And DIG cadre post is a new post, and there is no, it was created in 2010, yet there are no the powers jurisdiction mentioned. And when I asked DG, he point blank told me orally that you have no powers to suspend or take any action. And as it is, the chief superintendent being class 1 officer, I had to bring it to the notice of my higher ups, because the action has to be taken by the government, and that is why I have put it in writing.
Ma'am, you know, different people are looking at what you're saying and decoding it their own way. For some, you're a courageous whistleblower. For some, you're a muckraker with a motivation. How does DIG Rupa describe herself? Who are you? How would you describe?
Sorry, what is the second one?
I'm saying for some you're a courageous whistleblower, for some you're a muckraker. A muckraker is essentially somebody who's just stirring up a controversy because there is some axe to grind. You know, a lot of your colleagues, not so much on camera but off camera, have been telling our reporters that she has an agenda, she has an axe to grind. So how do you look at yourself as a courageous whistleblower?
What agenda do I have? Sorry, what agenda do I have?
Your critics seem to think that you do. That
I do not have any agenda. I do not. No, I do not have any agenda. I do not have any axe to grind. What is my self-interest in this? If it was so much of my interest, I would have joined the day this order came. When this order came, posting me to this post, it was in January. I was on leave, and the day this order came, if I had any axe to grind, I would have cut short my leave and joined. But I completed my leave, which I needed for my other personal reasons. It was a sanctioned leave, and then I came and joined. There was no hurry. What I saw, I put in writing. And yes, I think people who probably know me very well, they know that I am like this. But those who do not know me, it is they who probably think that, you know, kind of stir creator or some such thing.
You've been shunted out of your post as DIG
this is an
prisons.
occupational hazard. See,
you've been shunted out of your post as DIG prisons to traffic now. Did you expect that there would be punishment meted out, or, you know, you'd be given a not so glorious posting on the back of this?
No, I don't think there's any. No, there is. I don't believe any posting is a punishment posting, so I don't believe in this shunting thing and all that. And in any case, if people think, or you think, that I have been shunted out, if you think, then that is the risk I took. So what agenda do I have? And this is an occupational hazard, and I went to the jail. I spoke to 800, 900 convicts alone, and I could have been attacked. Anything could have happened. So I went inside, I heard their grievance, saw the things, and after that, people who were vocal to me were shifted to other jails.
And that's interesting.
So I have taken enough
you know, that's
risk,
very critical, because a lot of people, I was told that there were protests after you were shifted out in Bengaluru prison, and a lot of inmates actually spoke in your favor. A lot of those prisoners were speaking, Rupa, saying that you were doing the right thing.
Good, if they did that. Yeah, I'm not aware actually, because after I left the prison, after talking to them, this happened that probably they were wanting me to hear them out, and they were shifted in the night. And after that, I have not been informed even of this shifting, though I'm the supervisory officer. I have not bothered after that what has happened. Even now I'm transferred out, so why would I bother something which happened? I mean, this alone shows that I do not have any aches to grind.
You know, for many young probationers, for aspirants, you're a role model. You know, given what you've been through, what message, ma'am, are you sending out to people who are watching your story? You know, they've seen the courage that you've shown, they've seen how you've suffered as a consequence. What message are you sending out?
At times, we have to speak up, we have to stand for what we believe, and we are always told in the academy, whatever you see, everything, whatever you want to place, it has to be on record, put it in writing. And that is what I did. What else did I do? So I just put things in writing so that they are set right and seen in the right perspective. That's all I did. And all these things, what you said, that there are rumors that you have aches to grind and such things, will go on. But I am quite clear in my conscience, and I wish that more people take such risks and speak out at times, because if they remain silent, because they are the custodians of many things and they know what is happening, bureaucrats have to be accountable and transparent, and that is what even the conduct rules have been, All India Service Conduct Rules have been amended, and these words are included. You have to be accountable and transparent. So I think in the light of this, to be transparent, I think this is what I did.
Okay, in conclusion, because I will let you go in just a moment, I have two final questions for you, DIG Rupa, before I let you go. You know, you spoke of conduct rules. There's this clarification that's been put out on the transfer of officers in the prison department. You would have seen this clarification from the government and the administration, where they essentially accuse you of speaking to the media, violating your conduct rules. And I must say that, you know, I'm all for you speaking out. If you see something wrong, officers like you must speak out. There can be no two ways about it. But the government seems upset with the fact that you spoke out.
I have already answered the notice given to me by the government for speaking to the media. I have already answered, submitted my answer, and to be brief on that, I would only say that misconduct is what amounts to misconduct is criticizing the program policies of the government, which I have not done. And in 2014 there was a Supreme Court ruling in a case similar as mine, in which the Honorable Supreme Court has ruled that even if one exposes or talks about maladministration, it does not amount to criticizing the government. Maladministration refers to that particular incident or specific incident or with regard to that administrator or whatever. It doesn't amount to criticizing the government, and this is what I've done. I've stuck to the rules. I've not violated any conduct rules.
You know, you're a brave lady. Regardless of what the administration may say, there are many who are rooting for you. As the underdog from within who speaks out against the corruption she sees around her, DIG Rupa, where do you see life take you from here? You intend to stay in service, or have you reached a point of disgust where you say, just give it up, it's not worth it, or will you stay in the system and fight on?
No, I have not reached that point of disgust right now, and I cannot say what would it be like when I reach that point, because I have really never been there, and I don't think I'll be there up to that point. I am optimistic, and I have done my duty by giving the report, and I have no.
So what do you think needs to be done? You know, you're an insider.
It is you people who have picked it up, because for me,
complete what you're saying, ma'am. First, let me allow you to complete. I was asking you, what do you think needs to be done? You know, as an insider who's speaking out, how do you believe the system can be fixed?
No, when the report was given by me in the first place, it was an internal report. It was not any report to the government. I was not asked to inquire and report. I had no terms of reference. I was not even ordered to conduct any inquiry by anybody, either senior or the boss or whoever. Whatever I saw, I reported. It was an internal report. That report should have been believed in the first place and said that, okay, if things are like this, I'll look into it and we'll set right. I think that would have solved all the problem, and this wouldn't be in news today.
What kind of response are you getting, ma'am, from within the system? Your colleagues, your peers who grew up with you, who are in service with you, do they appreciate and respect what you've done? Or they say, kahan jaake pangal le liya, nahi karna chahiye tha?
What do I know? I haven't spoken to anyone, and I don't know really what they feel. But I'm sure there'll be some kind of fear about what would happen, and probably they're all watching this and taking a call as to if somebody does a whistleblowing act like this, what would happen? Well, whether one would suffer or one will get through. Probably they're watching that. And only when I come out of all this, I think they'll make their judgment final and then either congratulate me or give me, bouquets or brickbats. I think that will happen only after this all is over. And right now, inquiry committee is there, and I hope that it will conduct inquiry in a proper way, and truth will come out.
Are you hopeful that this will be a fair inquiry? You're confident that this will be a fair inquiry?
Why should I not believe? Why should I have doubts? I believe so. Yes.
Okay. I'll end this here.
And I wish that it
and
is
I
so.
think you've made a very important point, that in the fairness of the inquiry that's been set up will be the determination of whether or not an honest whistleblower can speak out, or will she be made to bear the consequences of taking on the high and the mighty. I think the government of Mr. Siddaramaiah is on test here, and everyone's waiting anxiously to know what the inquiry result throws up. Will the government see Rupa as a whistleblower, or will the might of the system come down on her? Thank you so much, DIG Rupa. It takes a lot of courage to first file the kind of report that you did.
Thank you.
To hold firm, hold your ground, and then also to have the audacity to come on TV to speak about it. Thank you so much. DIG Rupa joining us live and exclusive from Bengaluru. This is the first time she's taken the number of questions. She has spoken at length about why she filed the report she did. And interestingly, here is an officer who's not giving up. Many would have thrown the towel by now, but DIG Rupa says she believes in the system and is hopeful that the inquiry results will bear her out. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us.